So I was thinking about Tesla and artificial intelligence, self-driving cars and shit. And there's a thing called LIDAR, um, which the cars use to um, see what's going on in addition to cameras. And it's like it can see like through stuff, like see around corners. But Tesla's not going to use LIDAR. They're just going to use cameras. Um, but I was thinking about the LIDAR and about deer. Um, and I thought it would be cool if you had like street lights that had LIDAR on them. And I'm hearing an echo of myself for some reason. So you could have like on like a normal street light, or you could have like a spotlight for deer and also a LIDAR detector. So if it sees the deer, it turns the spotlight on to point at the deer. Um, so it can sense the deer in the dark and then shine a light on it, and that would help like uh, the Tesla cars see the deer, and also help anybody who's driving to see the
Oh,
deer.
absolutely.
Yeah. That's fucking
Yeah.
dope.
I think that's good, and I think even a step further is instead of a light, maybe a light and a gun to shoot it immediately.
That's what I was just thinking. Immediately,
Yeah.
I was military. They would take that bitch,
Yeah.
start up in every base out in fucking from here to Timbuktu, and then fucking blast some outsiders out of nowhere, dude.
And if there's
And-
like a little group of them, instead of shooting a bullet, it shoots a rocket.
Yeah.
Oh.
But who are we to play God?
No, I know. That's
Is
why
hunting
I like,
playing God?
I just think
Tom has it right with the light. We just need a light.
I'm just
Yeah,
playing
shoot the deer. We
Cabela's
can't-
Dangerous Hunts.
Yeah, so that was the idea. Basically, take the LiDAR off of the car and move it onto the street lights. And then I thought like, if you had LiDAR on the street lights, why would you need the street light to be on all night? Like,
Oh,
it could
yeah.
also sense like people and cars, and like,
Oh,
so instead of having like light pollution, like all of the city and all the highway have all these lights on all night long, it would just turn the lights on when things were nearby and then shut them off when they went away. Because the
it's
LiDAR
like,
would
have you
still
been to a fancy grocery store where you walk by the freezer section and it lights up only where you are?
Yeah, that'd be dope.
That's
No, I haven't seen that.
Yes.
That's weird.
Yeah. Although there is one thing to be said about like in a city area, it would decrease the walkability of the city just because the lights for pedestrians.
Now it would see
Um,
the pedestrians and turn the light on if the pedestrian
Oh, there.
was there.
Okay. Yeah. So if it can recognize pedestrians, then we're all set.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
is it just tracking all motion? Because obviously there's an issue where it's like, if are leaves blowing in the wind gonna just turn these lights on all the time?
Yeah. Two
Uh,
squirrels are banging at an intersection and they're just gonna like the lights are going off the whole time.
They're like, "Look, a little privacy.
A little bit. Yeah. Exactly.
I'd imagine it would be like AI, like the Tesla self-driving thing. It can tell a pedestrian from a mailbox from whatever. Yeah, if it's set off too easy, like trees blowing and everything, if it just like a motion light just set off everything, yeah, it might not be as good.
I do think it's a really good idea because, just personally, I hit a deer this past summer, and it was totally because like the light was out and I couldn't see it. And if
Oh,
there
no.
was a light there, I would have been able to see it, and if I wasn't drunk. But
You should be able to sue the city to fix your car.
Well,
you
every
should
car
definitely-
should have one of those train, those like metal V cages on the front of a train.
Yeah.
So that like even a like a Ford Focus can just shred anything that it hits.
That's it, dude. Just splits it right down the middle, dude.
Yeah.
Doesn't even, it sort of makes a noise, and then you go, "What was that?" And it's like nothing, dear.
Nothing, but we do have to go to a car wash now.
We
Yeah.
do have to go to the car wash.
Yeah, you wouldn't kind
That's
of,
good.
as a pedestrian, yeah, you wouldn't want to get hit.
And you could honestly maybe like if you were to put the LIDAR stuff on like street lights even, it might help with like traffic flow because like you know how they have those lights that kind of sense how much traffic's at a light, so that'll determine the timing of the light.
Ah.
Yeah, that might be how they do that. I don't know. Or maybe they have sensors in the road. I don't know how they do that.
Yeah, because there's this friggin' light by my house right now, and it's the most ridiculous thing. Like it'll be like 2 a.m, and I'm sitting at this red light for like 3 minutes, you know. And the only thing I'm thinking that whole time is like, God, I wish a deer would come out and just run into my car, so I wouldn't have to sit here this long.
The other thing, like, if you had lights that would shut on and off, and you could make them like those LED lights, so they don't use as much electricity, like newer lights. Maybe you could have like all of the street lights be solar powered, because you only have the light on a brief moment of time when the cars are going by or when the deer is there. And then the other thing I thought, why do we need a big 2-ton pole to hold street lights now that we have like drone technology? Like, I could see like if you had to have some dude go up high and change the light bulbs, you want it to be like a standardized pole that they're all the same. But if now that we have like little drone things, like couldn't it with maybe with some sort of artificial intelligence or some fancy tech shit, couldn't it just like attach the street lights to like a tree branch or something, so you don't need a big to pay for all these poles, you know?
And yeah, and then they put trees in places where they don't have trees instead of poles.
Well, yeah, some places already have the trees, but you could, yeah.
Both.
So then
Also,
I thought
you could maybe take advantage of like, you know how there's like the bioluminescent algae?
Yes.
Somehow like capture that technology, so then you know you're just utilizing, you know, natural light.
Genius.
But yeah. So my other thought was like, do we need street signs anymore? Because I noticed like my Google Maps they added the speed limit like on my phone.
Yeah.
Like, and of course it tells you what road you're on, and most people have smartphones now. So at what point can we say, okay, we don't need street signs at all? Maybe we need like a safety things, like if it's like a super sharp turn where you got to slow down to like 10 miles an hour or something, maybe you keep those signs, but then you get rid of some of the other signs, because we don't need them because of newer tech.
Yeah.
Well, I'm picturing an accident where like someone goes flying into like a sharp turn or something, and he's like, "What the heck?" And then someone's like, "I have push notifications turned off."
Yeah. You don't want that. But then I thought, yeah, what happens if your phone dies and then you're just fucked? You don't know where to go. But then I thought, well,
make the car out of the phone.
Okay, so you've got all these lights that are hardly ever on. They're solar powered. So maybe you've got some extra juice, so you just run a phone charger down. So people who, although they're in cars that can charge the phones, I suppose. Maybe that doesn't make sense. So
you're saying like a drone based like AAA for phone charging?
Not drone based, but the lights. Like each street light would have a phone charger on it. So if you were out and about and you needed to charge your phone, because we're living in a world where there's no more signs, street signs. Like we're trying to make it look more like nature, you know, get rid of all the ugly shit.
So there's like a USB-C or a lightning adapter at the end of like a vine, like growing out of the tree.
You could make it look like a vine, like green and like
I was actually thinking, me and my friends in high school, we were trying to come up with like a phone jumper cable where you could just connect your phone to someone else's phone and like steal a little bit of their
There you go.
juice.
I like that.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's a good idea, actually. A really good idea. Now that as a nerd, I'm trying to think how that would work.
It already exists between certain Samsung. It could exist more than this, but I do know that certain Samsung devices, if you put them back to back, they're wireless charging.
Yeah.
They can share juice. But just the hardwired thing, that's a very good idea.
Jack, you're a genius.
Well, you know, we never really got it off the ground floor. I think you're a genius because you used that friggin' big ass knife to cut those goldfish open.
I forgot you guys heard me.
I wasn't even paying attention. But yeah, my idea is kind of like the goal is to use newer tech for like street lights and street signs to like make things look more naturey and to save money. Yeah. So you don't need all the poles. You can just use drones to hang shit up in trees, and you can make things safer with the spotlights and LED lights and phone chargers in case people need to find their way around if their phone dies because we don't have the street signs anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be cool if there was nothing ugly like in the skyline at all. Like, yeah,
like a much needed update to our infrastructure.
Yeah, but you know, when is that ever going to happen? So
yeah, the government's not great with innovation, you know. Yeah. The other thing I forgot to say with that idea is if you could even have like drones follow things if you're like in the middle of a field with a spotlight, so you don't need the permanent street light there. And then I thought, if you had that, does your car even need headlights at all?
Well, there's the new Hummer EV that GM is coming out with actually has, at least in their concept videos, they showed like basically that idea where if you were like off-roading with it, it would basically be like your headlights pop out of your car like drones and then kind of like shine down on the road as sort of like these overhead spotlights for you to see. But obviously that's a concept. I don't know if that's really going to be a...
Of all the companies, I don't think GM could pull off good fancy tech.
Haven't you seen their new tailgate? It's incredible.
Jack
I only have good things to say because I work there.
I was waiting for that.
But yeah, if you think about it, like headlights, the idea of headlights is so, especially like brights, it's so dumb. Like you've literally got to like, as another car approaches, you're blinding them, so you've got to turn the brights down, and then you've got to manually turn them back on, and you've got to maybe some fancy car does it automatically or something. But the idea of trusting strangers with the responsibility of brights, you know, it doesn't make sense. It's just...
The only thing is that I can think of is like, I don't want headlights to get too tech savvy, just because like, what if I need my brights and then it's like, oh, there's a new update available to use it, download the update, and then I'm like, oh shit, I got low beams for the rest of the trip.
Yeah, or like all these cool, like they're like, oh look, I got like these cool LED, like I can change colors from green to red to, and you got all these like flashy, kind of like the what do they call it when you put the lights under your car?
Like ground effects or something.
Lights under your car.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was it. The idea is like just rethinking lights, I guess.
This has been a production of Planet Ant Podcast, powered by Pinecast.